It is only the mortal human that causes separation to be a bad or evil thing. You know, it's really hard, especially with relationships, whether that's personal romantic relationships, whether that's friendship, whether that's family relationship in and of itself. And right now, it's all about a letting go, because we have attached to stories, experiences, people, places, things that was needed at the time. And one thing about us mortals in that sense is we can't let go. We form emotional attachments. Well, I have to love them unconditionally. So just because they're at a lower frequency means I have to stay and I have to help them and I have to this, but I love them. I can't let go of it, Linda. The best piece of guidance I can give, let go. Because to the human, you think you're arguing or breaking up with somebody or leaving a job or this, that, and the other. When in all actuality, the only thing you're doing is severing the emotional attachment to that version of them. Let them go, break up, leave the job, quit, whatever it is, because it will come back around, giving you opportunity to shift it to a higher frequency storyline, to where you're not losing people unless you need to. So when I say next 2023, the spring equinox, we will be done. What I mean by that is consciousness has to be anchored into the grid system, which is your avatar body, right? Smile.
Yeah, carry on. I'm listening.
The weather has changed drastically. Remember, we control the weather. There's no climate control out here. There's no outside source manipulating your weather. You guys want to know what's wrong with your weather? Take a look at yourselves. Look at what you're releasing. We've exited out of a galactic activational portal, 22222, into your 3D existential disc plane form. This civilization is a galactic hub. March equinox of 2023 next year will be fully anchored into this land, and we will be unified. The spring equinox of 2023. Now, again, hear my words, people. Don't put your own interpretation to the information. You know, I'm not afraid to die and lay my vessel down. That doesn't mean I die. When I speak of 2023 in the spring equinox, that is when we anchor fully all of the diamondizing into the grid. The grid will be diamondized by that point. Not only do we control the weather, observe your thought process before you start processing those thoughts. Your understanding, it's called understanding for a reason. You're keeping yourself trapped in the underworld of the living dead, not bringing yourself alive. You're in your mind because your mind loves to be proved. Give me proof, give me understanding. And if you're trying to understand, you're trying to understand information, which means you are not heart-centered. You are not here trying to get clarity. You're here. And it's the assumption that is the root of all evil. And so you are the roots of all evil, and why you have to pull up your roots. And you have to be the one to put your roots here instead of here. Because I call you a piece of shit, Alex. It's gonna hurt. Whether I say it jokingly, whether I say it deliberately to hurt you, whether we're just bantering back and forth. You're just a piece of shit. It has a negative charge to it that is automatic, no matter how positive I say it. And you will never understand thyself. That's why it's called Father. But see, people don't like, they want to say, I'm awake, I'm aware, I'm multidimensional, but then only look through, well, this is my truth and that's your truth. Well, then you're not multidimensional. I'm sorry. This world don't need healing. This world needs responsibility of self. Really start observing your thought processes. Is it truly coming from your higher awareness, or is it coming from your mortal human? And in that assumption, I'm going to put you on the spot. Elvira this morning was saying, I think I got bit by a bug because it's so itchy. And I said, look at what you just said. I said, you already know that everything is being dehydrated within us. I said, look at the work we've been doing here alone. I said, all of this light coming in is dehydrating the body. I said, but do you see how your mind automatically, oh, I must have been bitten by a bug. That's why I'm itchy. I said, do you see how your mind does not use any of your awareness at all? The awareness that we're being dehydrated from the inside out. And she's like, wow. So that's what I mean by all of this assumptive cognition is going to start surfacing to be recognized. For example, I went to put a CD in the car yesterday, and Elvira immediately, the music started to trigger her, right? And a sadness in her. And so instead of dealing with the sadness, she went to look up the lyrics of the song and this, that, and the other, her mind distracting her sensory feeling that the music was triggering in her. And that is how we self-sabotage ourselves. And that's what I mean by cognitive bypassing. So again, the human mentality wants to limit it either or. And that's exactly what has happened with Christ consciousness. Oh, there's not a Christ returning. It's only Christ consciousness returning. Well, you can't have one return without the other, because Christ and Magdalene are titles of consciousness. When you look at unifying 6 into a 1, if you will, the 666 blueprint down to a 616. And then we lead that into the celestial alignment of the second coming of the Christed sun code within us in April. It'll get more chaotic out here. Remember, we're walking through 5 years of the dark night of the world soul, which means the Christ is returning, that Christed light within, which makes those that are truly ascending to become Christed, full Christed beings in form. And so, you know, we've spent a lot of time driving, being in them and down in the Yucatan and whatnot this past week. That means there's a lot of negativity that has to be released from the body. So bring on the chaos. That means we can transmute it forever. I have one of my team members that worked in the corporate world and just actually left it after 35 years. And in going through that withdrawal of losing her identity because she's been a corporate vice president, you know. And there was a lot of judgment and a lot of rude comments that I read. And the majority of the comments and the judgments in your comments on our last video strictly came from a linear, limited human mentality. And I'm sorry if you guys get butthurt on that, but check yourselves.